This is a wake-up call you can't ignore. Imagine a place where kids are starving, mothers can't feed their babies, and entire cities are crumbling under bombs. That's Gaza right now, and it's not some distant nightmare, it's happening today, in 2025, while leaders play games with the truth. We're talking famine, official, declared, and deadly. And in the middle of it all, one explosive interview just exposed the deflections, the excuses, and the outright denial that's letting this horror drag on. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't just talk, it's a raw, unfiltered clash that reveals everything wrong with how power ignores suffering. If you're ready to face the facts, stick around. Comment where you're tuning in from, smash that like button, and subscribe so you never miss the truth bombs we drop next. Picture this: a UN report drops like a bombshell, confirming famine in Gaza City and its outskirts for the first time ever. It's not hype. It's cold, hard data screaming for action. And who better to grill on this than Fleur Hassan-Neam, Israel's former deputy mayor of Jerusalem and their special envoy for trade and innovation? She joins Louis Goodall on LBC, and folks, the sparks fly from the get-go. Louis doesn't hold back. What's your take on this UN bombshell saying famines hit Gaza City hard? Fleur jumps in with a smirk in her voice. Oh, please. We've heard this brink of disaster nonsense a dozen times. Back in November 2023, they screamed Gaza was out of fuel, total fabrication. March 2024? Impending starvation that never showed. Remember that wild claim about 14,000 babies dying in 24 hours from hunger? Pure lie. You can't trust these reports because they're all poisoned by data from a terrorist outfit. Louis fires back, then why block journalists? Why won't your government let eyes on the ground? Fleur dodges, I'm no military expert, but think about it, journalists as human shields for Hamas? That flips the whole war strategy. We've seen it before, no reporters in hot zones to keep things clean. Louis isn't buying it. Come on, history's full of wars with journalists embedded everywhere. This smells like a cover-up. The tension ramps up. Fleur pivots, look, that UN body's a joke. They're neck-deep in this mess, employing Hamas folks. When they raided Sinwar's tunnel, guess what? Anwar ID right there with his stuff. UNRWA's got terrorists on payroll, 7 October 7th butchers were on their books. But Louis presses, isn't it suspicious? The UN, Save the Children, Norwegian Refugee Council, Christian Aid, every major humanitarian group blasting Israel. What's their beef? Why would they all fabricate this? Fleur's response? Simple. They're all sipping from the same tainted well, Hamas propaganda. Numbers straight from the source that's twisting everything. Louis counters sharp, so everyone's wrong except your government? Fleur clarifies, not wrong per se, just fed bad intel from Hamas spin. Then Louis drops a gut punch stat, Save the Children runs clinics in Gaza. In early August's first 2 weeks, 61% of pregnant women and new moms they screened? Malnourished. You calling them liars? Fleur concedes a sliver, hey, war's hell, food insecurity happens. But we didn't start this fight. Louis pushes, your government keeps it going, against your own peoples please sometimes. Fleur snaps, it ends if hostages come home. Why no pressure on Hamas? Louis, is famine the only way? Starving Gaza City? Fleur, no famine on the brink, we've dodged 20 fake crises in 2 years. You're parroting terrorist lies. Louis, this isn't brink anymore, it's here, declared. Fleur, UNRWA's complicit. Terrorists in their ranks. Louis, you okay with 61% malnourished pregnant women? Fleur, moral responsibility? We pulled out in 2005, handed Gaza over. They turned it into a rocket-launching terror hub. Attacks since 2008, our land hit hard. Louis, but 60% malnourished, you dispute that? Fleur, Save the Children pulls from Hamas data too. Louis, they're on the ground. I'll trust them over spin. The back and forth boils, everyone's gunning for Israel, huh? All wrong but you. Fleur, you got an agenda, cherry-picking sources that fit. Louis, and you don't? Interview over, but the fire's just starting. Fleur Hassan Neam, signing off as Jerusalem's ex-deputy mayor. Now, let's zoom out. This isn't just chatter, it's a mirror to a crisis. You don't need war smarts to let journalists in. That's not tactics, that's transparency versus blackout. Wars past? Journalists were frontline fixtures. Balkans, embedded in chaos. World War I and II, capturing hell for history. Vietnam, footage that toppled opinions back home. Gulf War, live from the sand. Iraq, Afghanistan, with troops in the thick. Ukraine today, dodging Russian fire to tell truths. So why Gaza's the outlier? Why bar witnesses? Unless it's not about shields. It's about shadows. What if exposure's the real threat, not strategy? Political fallout over military moves. And the famine? No guesswork. Official, from global watchdogs, aid heroes on site. Gaza's 80% plus in ruins, neighborhoods erased, infrastructure dust, families nomads in hell. Death toll? Nearing or past 100,000, numbers that numb the soul, yet dismiss like yesterday's news. Israel's line, every critic's a liar, every ord biased. Fabricating. Save the children? Duped. Norwegian Council? Agenda-driven. Clinics spotting malnourishment? Fake stats. To swallow that, you'd believe a worldwide conspiracy hatched overnight against one nation. Ludicrous. Insulting. Deadly, because while denials echo, stomachs empty, lives fade. This screams accountability. A regime blind to what the planet witnesses. Deny harder, truth shines brighter. Spinners? Not the aid workers, the leaders crying conspiracy while famine rages. But wait, famine's no stranger elsewhere. Yemen. Millions starving amid war. Sudan, hunger killing daily. Yet Gaza's spotlighted because it's preventable, man-made, amid blockade and bombs. Flashback, aid trucks pile up at borders, rotting while bureaucrats quibble. Security checks, they say. But reports scream, delays deliberate, aid diverted or blocked. Hamas hordes? Sure, but Israel's gates control flow.